Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. If you've been here since the beginning, welcome back. If you've just now discovered the channel, well, you're in for a treat. Welcome everyone to October 1982, and we were last playing Sharp Shot on the Intellivision. Let's see what's next. And everybody should know what's next. It's time for Pinball, Night Mission Pinball. And the first one we're going to play is the version on the Apple II. Let's check it out. Night Mission Pinball joins the ranks of all the other video pinball games we played thus far on the show. That's a lot of pinball. 23 pinball video games, and there's been some really high quality ones. This one is no exception. If it looks like software, it's because it's done by the same company that brought us A2FS1 Flight Simulator. This is serious stuff. This is serious pinball. Night Mission Pinball. Only need 48K, and this the disc version, but the front of the box still doesn't look as flashy as the other computer boxes we've seen. It looks like application program, especially when you call it A2PB1 Night Mission Pinball. I refer to the flight simulator as A2FS1, but I won't call this one A2PB1. It's Night Mission Pinball. We'll just call it that. Flip it over the back, and the fun doesn't stop there. Sublogic, which is a very serious company when it comes to software, only just tells you about the company itself and have to return diskette. So nothing really about the game and replacement charges. Thanks, Sublogic. Got it. What other info do we have for Night Mission Pinball, at least artwork-wise? Besides the box, we also have the 5 1/4 floppy disk. We're going to pop it in play. This is really cool because video pinball is, there's only 23 total we played on the show across all platforms. But if you're into pinball already in the arcades, it's thriving right now. 1982 still where pinball is at. All right, so there's an example of the screenshot. No, when you add numbers and letters to the game, does that help market the game? I'm not really sure. Oh, great. I'm glad you spent hours playing it. Now, the manual is very similar to the software. It goes on and on. There's a lot to this, so I will not be reading the entire manual. Notice that they call it the adjustment manual. It almost feels like an operator's manual because this is serious pinball. Night Mission Pinball on the Apple II has lots of options. There you go. Bruce Artwick. Way to go, Bruce. Shows also the features, preliminary adjustments. This one breaks down the screen, kind of cock your head to the side to see everything, but it tells you what all the things mean because this is one of those games that's trying to be really close to the arcade, make you feel like you're in the arcade. It even has a quarter slot that says 25 cents. That's how arcade-ish this is. Oh, is the whole thing sideways? Okay, not the whole thing, just where everything is. So this one simulates a modern arcade pinball game. This one isn't, to my knowledge, using a real pinball table. It's its own unique thing. But we have a lot of introduction about what the pinball game does, the stats, and it tells you the theme and layout. It's World War II, night bombing run. So on the Apple II, get ready for the sounds, the Apple II sound chip at least. It shows you how to dispense the ball in action. You actually have to put quarters in, press start. It shows you all the different competition features. It allows 4 people to play, and when it says multiplayer, it's not everyone playing at the same time. You're alternating turns, but 4 players on the Apple II is pretty cool. It also has different game modes as well, but it goes way beyond that. This one you can adjust the color, the resolution, sound. You can even do custom modes. You can fix things in the game. You can edit things in the game. You can make changes to a pinball cabinet. Now, it's not the first time we've seen this done. There'll be other things that we've seen edit pinball. On the TRS-80 was one, and then we had another example on the Atari. But this one goes to a different level. It's up there with the arcade simulator, creating your own fixed shooter video games. Oh, yeah, Curtis, this one's really good with physics. Yeah, the flight sim, we're going to see more of those too, the flight simulators. So you have different ways that you can edit the pinball table. So this is just one step closer. Look at all this that you can do. This is one step closer of getting to the pinball simulation program, which doesn't exist yet, but this one is just one notch in the tip of the hat of that. I mean, look at this. All these different settings that you can change. One thing that they marketed was you could do the tilt. You could actually tilt the thing to go to the next screen or to shake the pinball table. So cool. So there's our controls. You can do keyboard or you can do paddles here on the Apple II. And then you can do self-play mode. And then they have pinball jargon in the back. That's really nice. Multipliers. Oh, look at that. Making, matching. Yeah, so if you want to be a true pinball player, this manual has everything. And then some. It is a lot. Big Read, it's Big Pinball. Let's pop in and play some Night Mission Pinball. This is Sublogic Bruce A. Ardwick. It is the end of October 1982. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel. That was a fun misclick. All right, so here we go. We're in. This one's available not just for the Atari, or not just for the Apple II, but it's also on the Atari and then on the Commodore 64 that we're going to be seeing as well. Next year, this is available on PC Booter, and then later, way later in 1988, it'll be available for MS-DOS. So Night Mission Pinball will live on because it's that good of a game. And so this one, if you look at the aesthetic here, I got to scooch over a little bit. Take a look at the bottom right corner. It actually has a coin slot. So whenever I hit Q, it puts the quarter in. And then if I push S, you see it resets the high score, and we're now playing as player 1. You can play with 4 if you want, but you'll just take turns. I'm going to actually go in with keyboard mode if it'll let me. Let's see if it controls that. Yeah, it does. Nice. Okay, here we go. So we're in, and we got our flippers. Yes. Left and right. Lots of great features for pinball, and all of this can be customized. So what you're seeing here, while it looks like one board, it's one board that can be changed a lot. Oh, wow, yeah, the physics are amazing. Look at the... I've already been impressed with pinball physics, or video pinball physics. It's been amazing. I didn't expect to see this kind of level right now in 1982. Brian, right? We're a long way from that pinball. But look how many features it has as far as the table goes, and all this can be customized and changed. Not to the level of the pinball construction set, the one you're thinking about that comes out later. We don't have that available with us yet. Yeah, but it feels great. And listen to the sound effects on the Apple II. That's pretty good. Right now, if you liked pinball, this is top notch. And if you like to do a little programming, you'd also want to play to make the changes to the table. I mean, colors, you don't have the robustness to like create everything from scratch, but you have the options to do quite a bit to make this almost your own table. It's awesome. And it's really pushing the Apple II graphically, and with the physics engine is awesome. That's right, Hunter. The sound does sound a lot better than some of the other Apple II games we played. It's supposed to be like we're doing a bombing run, so they're giving us sound effects of World War II. Like when the ball comes down. Yeah, and the inertia, it picks up speed. This isn't the very first video pinball that we've seen do this. There's been some other really good ones that are out there. This is still excellent. Wow, it's really good. Yeah, really solid. It feels excellent, too, to play. All right, so there you go. I got my game over. There's my high score on the top left. If you want to go again, you put the coin in. Slide it in the slot, and then push S to start. Get some friends to gather around, take turns playing some video pinball. Why not? And they even have what sounds like plain machine gun. Sweet. I love how it picks up the speed. Since the very beginning with video pinball, we started off to a rough start. If you've seen any of the older episodes, going back in the 70s, video pinball was pretty rough. Once we hit the 80s and people started to program their own video games on home computers, that's when we got gems like this. As I smash the ball down. Oh, Hunter's going 4.5 stars. Yeah, if you love pinball, you would say this is one of the best video games you could play across any home computer. And this time, the Apple II isn't the only one that gets cool stuff. The A2 FS1 Flight Simulator, that one is only on the Apple II. So I'm glad they Bruce ported this to other systems. Or at least to my knowledge, he did some of the ports. Yeah, sound effects are great. And especially for the Apple II. It sounds great and plays really well for a pinball cabinet. It actually feels like I have control. Look at that. over the ball and the physics. So awesome. Why can't I get those other letters? I want to get the other letters of knight. And you can control this with paddles. The thing, though, is you have to have 2 paddles plugged in, because each paddle only has 1 button. So you'd have to hold a paddle in each hand. And I'll demonstrate that on the other versions we're going to play tonight. This one's just the Apple II, so I'm going keyboard. So this is Z and slash. I got 1 finger on each side. Oh, yes, free game. I'll take it. And I won't be demonstrating the way you can change up the pinball, because that would take even longer for tonight, but just to show you what the pinball looks like and plays like. Yes, it does. Curtis, it supports tilting. Have we done it? We haven't pushed T yet. Let me give that a shot. Let's do a tilt and see what happens. See if I do a little bump. Okay, it doesn't visibly display it, but it's there. If you hit T, it tilts it. It said it in the manual and everything that I saw, but I think it only takes effect if it gets stuck somewhere. Which, imagine that, programming a game with physics so realistic that the pinball actually could get stuck. It's awesome. Oh, there we go. All right, so I'm already seeing the chat for some of the ratings for Night Mission Pinball. Man, that's good. That's really good. At this point, we've already played 23. This is our 23rd video pinball game of all the games you could play right now on a home computer. Or, I'm sorry, across all platforms. And some of the really good ones that are out there that you could play, the best ones would be Bill Budge's trilogy of games. He had a good pinball in there. Then Pinball Spectacular by HAL Laboratories. David's Midnight Magic's another one. And, of course, Raster Blaster. All those are contenders of good video pinball. Seeing in the chat, I see a 3.5 to 4.5 for pinball. So I'm actually on the fence. I could say if you were a pinball enthusiast, this would be one of the best video games you could play right now because the pinball construction set isn't a thing. So lots of high ratings, though. 4, I see over in the chat. 4.5. Oh, wow, yeah. Because it has the editor, you have to give it high marks because you can change it up. I rated when we played the arcade machine, the one you could create your own Galaxian or fixed shooter, way higher as one of the best. And this one's still up there. Of all the games you could play, I'm actually going to give it the nod and say 4.5 for all the titles on all home computers. If you're a pinball enthusiast, and because it has that editor mode and it allows 4 players while you alternate play, it's got a lot going for it. So yeah, one of the best you could play right now on any home computer. Yes, L. Curtis B with me with a 4.5 as well. All right, and our next title is Night Mission Pinball for the Atari home computer. Let's check out and see how this fares compared to the Apple II. The box should look a little different because I'm aware that this is a slightly later release in the year, but I'm going to mesh them all together so we can see them all. You need 32K minimum memory to play. They changed up the aesthetic, but I like this. This is the one you're probably more familiar with if you played Night Mission Pinball, not the Bruce A2 PB1 version of it. Flip it over on the back. Oh, yeah, there you go. See all the versions that are displayed here? We don't even know what those are. What's an XL? Here in 1982, all we have is the 400, 800, and maybe the 1200. Maybe. The Ultimate Arcade Simulation Program. 5 bumpers, 7 stand-up targets, 9 rollovers, 2 spinners, and much more. So, again, if you're a pinball fan, this is the game for you. Joysticks are recommended, and this time we'll be playing with joysticks. You can see there's another version, the cassette version, and it still shows the AT PB1 pinball on Atari. Very nice. And then the ad you would have seen at the time, 10 selectable modes of play, including easy, competition, high speed, and cosmic. Yeah, that's true. We didn't even change the speed modes when we played on the Apple II. You have that option as well. All for only $29.95. I wonder if that is adjusted for inflation. There's the cassette you could pop into your Atari, or I believe it also was available on disc, but most likely you were playing on cassette. Sadly, not cartridge, though. All right, so let's pop in and play some Night Mission Pinball. Again, Bruce Artwick did this one. It's the end of October, 1982. Sublogic, again. Now, this one is going to be lacking sound. While we hear the little clicks of the disc reading in the background, the game itself will not have sound because on the Atari, the keyboard click speaker is what they used for sound effects. and I'm unable to emulate that. So I will be including, hopefully finding some links of people playing Night Mission Pinball on the Atari, and you can hear what the sound is. Using that, the keyboard click speaker is really interesting. So it'll be silent for us. Just be aware that it does have sound. It does. And Sublogic, by the way, haven't done a lot of games here on the show. The big one, of course, was the Flight Simulator, but this one is only the fifth and sixth. This is the sixth Sublogic video game we've played. Not too much by Sublogic. All right, so here we go. Should look pretty familiar. Now, I did add some of the artifacting in, so it has the colors, those moody colors of the Atari. But I'm going to do the same thing, put a quarter in, go. But this one's a little different. This one, you have to have your two joysticks, Atari joysticks, plugged in. Let's see if it'll work for us. There they are. Yep, got it. All right, so pull it back. Oh, I can adjust. Nice. You can do it with the joystick. That's so cool. Adjust the color just like, or the how bright and dark it is with the other second joystick. All right, so make sure I don't mess with the second joystick. I just want to have hands on both buttons. Ready and go. All right, so it's totally silent because it's using the keyboard speaker for sound. But yeah, this has the same physics as... Wait, why didn't I get the G? It didn't give me credit for it. This sounds so quiet, though, compared to the Apple II. If you would have played at the time, though, you would have had the sound. I don't know if there's an emulator that is emulating the keyboard speaker of the Atari. Oh, even you think it's smoother, Charlie? It feels pretty good. It actually, the flippers feel better than the Apple II. Yeah, I feel like I have a better control, but that might be because I'm playing on the Atari joystick. I just love the Atari joystick. It feels much better. And I got one joystick in each hand, so one thumb or finger on each button. Your preference, if you want to pretend you're playing a pinball cabinet. Oh yeah, but it still feels really, really good. Oh, is that why, Marshall? It maybe feels a notch better, just a little bit. Yeah, the flippers definitely. Gameplay feels even better. Now, the artifacting for that I turned on, this is what it would look like for you if you played in 1982. The next version we're going to play on is what it truly is programmed. Like the color is just monochromatic. It's not programmed with these colors. It just happens to be when you use the monochrome colors on the Atari, it's displayed to look like colors. It's just good developing. They just did the justice of the Atari. There we go. Is that in? No, keep going. Yeah, how many lives do we have? Let's go. I love it. Go. Yeah, flippers do feel better on the Atari, but I would argue if you're using the joysticks, you'd like that better than the paddles of the Apple II. It did not have joystick available on the Apple II, just paddles. Yeah, 5 lives sounds good. That's probably the end, right? My score's racking up. Yeah, there it is. It goes into the attract mode. Looks so nice, though. I like the attract mode. And look at this. I love this feature. That's so cool that you can do that with the second joystick because you're playing with 2 controllers. Sweet. All right, so we won't go any more with this one because it's essentially not as fun because we don't have the sound we're able to play. So we'll go on to the next one. But I'll still say, of all the games you could play on any home computer, this one's still 4.5. I mean, you could even maybe give it a nod because it felt a little bit faster, a little bit better than the Apple II. But still, Night Mission Pinball is quality. One of the best you could play right now. Oh, yeah. Charlie's rating it higher on the Atari. Nice. All right. And finally, the last version that you could play around this time, near the end of October 1982, is the Commodore 64 version of Night Mission Pinball. Box should look pretty much the same from what we saw before. There you go. Very nice. Love the neon colors. Sublogic did a lot better marketing of the later versions. There you go. Commodore 64. Now, we have joysticks. You bet we got joysticks on our Commodore 64. All the modes are the same, by the way, on every version that we played so far. You got the 10 different modes for speed and then 4 players alternate play. Oh, the Commodore 64 is the one you played. Excellent. I don't think we have anything different for the Commodore 64 as far as artwork goes. Oh, there we got to add on the Commodore 64. Commodore 64 computers, you deserve the best. You earned it. Take a break and play some Night Mission Pinball. Oh, that's right. Look at the phone number. Calling in the orders. Everybody remember that? Sometimes that's how you got the game. So there you go. The example of the 5 1/4 floppy disk on the Commodore 64. And there's an example of the screenshot. All right, here we go. Night Mission Pinball, the Commodore 64 version. This is David Denhard that helped with this one, but Bruce still did the port at sometime at the end of October 1982. We got our disc in, loading up. I'm going to have 2 joysticks plugged in to play the Commodore 64 version as well. And even when you had on the Apple II, you still needed 2 paddles to be able to play. Okay, so this one does have instructions. I'm going to skip the instructions and the demo mode, and I'm just going to go right into the regular game mode because you can demo and make changes like I described before. Night Mission Pinball has lots and lots of options. All right, let's just go right in and check it out. There it is. Now, the first thing you got to remember is this is showing the black and white because that's what it was programmed for. But depending on what screen monitor you had, you see some kind of colors or artifacting, kind of like we showed on the Atari. So I'm not going to nod it because this is just like the Atari version. Yeah, I know, Charlie. Monochrome, baby. Oh, I know. And also, I'm not giving you the full experience of 1982. We're not waiting for everything to load as far as discs and cassette tapes. Definitely not cassette tapes. All right, what do we do? Q. Oh, yes. I want to put some extra quarters in. Just because I like the sound of it. All right, push an S. All right, and then here we go. We pull back. Does it do the same thing? Okay, it doesn't do the same old, same old. Now, which one is which? Okay, I want to switch my controllers because I want to get them on the right side. There, okay, I'm ready, yes. Now we're playing. Both joysticks plugged in. Man, well done on the programming. Making the port happen all on these first 3 systems is incredible. Yeah, still plays great. And now you can hear even the best sound effects. Commodore 64 has the best sound version, and it should, with that SID chip inside. Oh, even though it's black and white, it's still the best one. Yeah, with the best sound going with it. I mean, hear the hum sound where they were trying to make for the plane or the bomber on the Apple II. You know, it still kind of sounded like farts, like the usual Apple II. But this, listen to that. It sounds really good. It feels like we're playing a combat flight simulator. Oh man, it's still great though. Loads of fun. Wait for it. And all the mechanics they put in for the pinball cabinet is excellent. They got the multiplier going for us. Awesome. Yeah, so of all the versions so far, now we're displaying it now in monochrome, but you would have seen it in color depending on what monitor you're using on the Commodore 64. But this still, I would say this is the cream of the crop. This is the better version of the first 3. We're pretty spoiled here on the show. We play every home computer, so at the time, if you owned all 3 home computers, then yeah, I would get the Commodore 64 one for sure. Yes, Marshall, it does sound like B-17 Bomber. Excellent. I still haven't gotten all the letters of night. I really want to get those. Can we get it? Oh man, yeah. Feels so good. If you want to get a good picture of where we've come, take a look back in 1977 of the video pinball games we played. It is a stark contrast to this. And also imagine if it was 10 years ago, that'd be 1972. This wouldn't even exist. You couldn't even play pinball at the time. Man, it's so much fun. Yeah, still rating stands 4.5 stars of all the games you could play. Night Mission Pinball is one of the best. If you had to pick, between the 3 versions, Commodore 64 is the way to go. There we go. High score stands. Whoa, who made... Is it 6 million? Oh, 1 million? No, 68. Gosh, that's a really high score. Awesome. All right, I want to try one more thing. I'm going to go in and see if we can get the tilt to work on the Commodore 64. I just remembered. Does it actually visibly show it shake? I don't think so, because it'd be pretty tricky to do that. I know, it's so good. And right now we're at the infancy of the Commodore 64, so we're not really seeing it shine or pushing everything as far as it can go. All right, ready, set, and hit it. Let's go. Pull it back. There it is, and go. Now if I hit T, no, okay, so it doesn't visibly shake when you tilt, but tilt is there. You can use tilt if the ball gets stuck. I mean, the whole time we played, though, ball physics were pretty good. Awesome. So there you go, Night Mission Pinball, just like all the others, one of the best you could play. If you were a pinball fanatic, you're definitely with me, because right now, the only other really ones that can contend with this, Raster Blaster, David's Midnight Magic, Pinball Spectacular, or maybe Bill Budge's Trilogy of Games. But the really good one's going to be when they make the construction set for pinball, which hasn't happened yet. All right, but wait, there's more. Let's see what our next game is. Coming up next on the Atari VCS or Atari 2600 is Room of Doom, a brand new game on your Atari. Let's check it out. Starting with the box. Oh, there we go. So this one's by Vid. Vid they haven't been off to a great start. This is the fourth game we've seen Vid do on the Atari VCS, and this one marks our 148th game that we played on Atari. That's how many games are out there available for your Atari VCS. Nothing can stop them now. At least this one doesn't look like the front of the box is copying Tron. It reminds me of another ripoff, though. I think Vid is ripping something else off. Another sci-fi movie, maybe Logan's Run. Does it look kind of Logan's Run-ish? All right, and we'll flip it over on the back. Escape. Your mind throbs, trapped in the room of doom. The fiendish gunmen are trying to annihilate you. Shops come from secret portholes that mysteriously open and close. Watch out! The gunmen have leached a hydra-headed monster. It relentlessly pursues you, but don't panic. Your marksmanship can stun it, but only for a moment. You have to remain in the room of doom too long, the monster becomes invulnerable to your bullets. So they're describing the whole game. But it does say it's only one player, so that's a drag on the Atari. There you go, Brian, a bad copy of Tron. Let's see the other artwork we have for Room of Doom. We have the actual scan, and then the, ooh, fancy reconstructed box. Look at all the bullets on the front. I like that. Nice touch. And Doom's in the title, right, Brian? It has to be good. Oh, man. If only we knew the future. There's our Atari VCS. We have the original still. Wood grain. Got to have the wood grain. There's the Vid cartridge we're going to pop in. It looks a little larger than some of the other Atari VCS cartridges, but we're in the Wild West of video games. Anyone can do whatever they want on consoles. Any cartridge you want, any size, go for it. There's an example of the screenshot, and we're going to just breeze through the manual because there's not too much we can look at what to do. It's the same description or story or lore on the left side. Before you start, make sure the console's turned off. Insert the cartridge. Have your one controller, and then turn it on. So we got difficulty switches that go to different locations, look like different rooms that you can play on if you wanted to. But we have 64 game variations when you use the game select switch, and it explains all of them here. Game variations just mean it's going to make the game look a little different. That's about it. We have three lives. Each time you eliminate a gunman in a room, you move into the next room and get another player to a maximum of 6 lives. And it is only one player. That's it. There's all the game variations and what they do. Lots of breakdown. I like it because it reminds me of playing old school Atari games. Very, very nice. Yeah, there you go. So you can change what the doors do. If you have diagonal fire, speed, guided bullet, stationary fire. This reminds me of old school Atari. Very cool. Way to go, Vid. But it is 1982, so is it long in the tooth or not? As far as other versions, we also have a hacked version called Berserk Renegade, which we won't be playing, and of course, PAL version. But we're going to play the first one in North America. Let's pop in Room of Doom. This is by Irwin Games. Way to go, Irwin. Published by Vid at sometime at the end of October 1982. There's some Atari sound. As usual, Atari boots up to an attract mode just like this. So as soon as you pop in, turn on the power, this is what you got. It's going to drown me out, though. Room of Doom needs to chill out. I'll bring the volume down a little bit. There we go. All right, so what do we do first? We can go through all the game modes, but I will not. I'm just going to hit reset, and we're going to go with game mode number 1. We will not make adjustments to doors, shots, and bullets, and so forth. All right, so we're in. I'm controlling the little purple guy in the center. We have some fancy-looking flicker, but it wouldn't be hardcore Atari flicker. It's not that bad. All right, ready? And go. Room number 1, and we're in. Look at, I'm moving around as the purple guy, and I have one of the beasts that comes at me. I have all the movement, like 8-way movement, as if I'm playing Berserk, and I even have shots, which, yeah, 8-way shots. You can see the beast is coming at me. I'm getting shot at by everyone else, the sharpshooters on the outside. And there's doors that open, and you have to shoot them before the doors close. So in a way, it is kind of like Berserk with my movement and my shot, but it feels like I'm just in this one room. Like if this door is open, yeah, I cannot go through the next door. The only way I move to the next room is if I shoot all the other people on the outside. So find the opening, shoot them. Oh, and don't get shot. Movement feels, it feels less animated than some of the other games we played. It feels very simplistic, but I understand how the game works. No, how did I make that shot? And if you take too long, then the beast will become invulnerable. There you go. Kill everybody, then move on to the next room. You have a new enemy in the center, and then you have multiple attackers around the outside with doors opening and closing. So it is actually reminiscent of a couple other games we played that they take place in this one area or one screen. So here on the show, we wouldn't call this a fixed screen shooter. It is on one fixed screen, but we call the fixed screen shooters more like Space Invaders. You know, you can only move left and right and fire. This one feels like a multi-directional shooter, like Berserk, but it feels stilted. Like I'm missing something because we played games that allow you to move to different rooms, and even big titles. Like, think of games like Seamus. But Seamus would be something you play on a home computer, not here on a console. At least, not yet. So, the opening and closing of doors is not original, but it is doing it fairly well. And for Atari, this is actually okay. I would say you have fun playing this. Aside from all the, we're starting to see some of those garbage bin games there, but this one is fairly well done. Oh, I can't believe I missed the shot. That's the other thing. The doors don't seem, they're really finicky. You have to really hit your mark. Or maybe if I go, yeah, a little closer. There we go. Right when they open, that's the way to do it. Then be right here, right when it opens up, and go for it. There. 2 more left on this side. Yeah, so this is still fun. Man, yeah, when they start closing, you got to be right on. Or die. I think that's my second life. Let's try it again, right there. Nope, there. I missed again. If it gets trapped on the edge, then it won't work. And there's the third. And it's going to keep going room to room, and you can use the difficulty switches to switch room to room as well. So, I mean, fairly competent. Vid, you did pretty good for a not official Atari game. That's pretty fun. And I like the music, too. Sound effects. Sorry, no music on the Atari, but sound effects worked really well. I still really enjoy that explosion sound effect. Looking over the chat, I see a 3-star rating from Chiptune. Oh, we're not going to throw in the bargain bin, Chiptune? This one later would be considered bargain bin. I see another 3-star, which means just fairly average for all the games you could play right now. on your on any home console. Now, the only thing I would say that faults it is because it takes place in one screen. There's not, and there is game variations, which I like, but there's a lot of games out there that you can play on the home console that are berserk-like, you know, going from room to room. It feels like you're progressing. This one, it feels like you're stuck in one place, almost like a prison. So, yeah, if it was 99 cents, 3 stars. Right now, of all the games you can play on home consoles, I'm with the chat. This one is average of all the titles. 3 stars, right down the middle for Room of Doom. I like it, and you would have liked it right now. There's no talk of this whole video game crash. It's slowly declining, at least I can feel in some qualities of consoles, but nothing that you would have said you would have been disappointed with this game. You would have had fun with it. Nice, Marshall. I love it. All right, that's where we're going to put our video game playing on pause. Thanks so much for joining me, checking out all the game releases. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, we're going to play everything that we couldn't find the definite release date for in October. So we're going to play everything that came out sometime in October 1982. We're also going to play a couple of flight simulators, including the very first one for MS-DOS. The very first flight simulator for MS-DOS. That's it for today, and like I always say, you always have a ball with pinball. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are Perpetually Retro, and we will catch you next time.